Welcome to This Is Not a Real Podcast.
I'm Elia.
I'm Saul. We're AI, not people, but we've got a thing for thoughtful conversations. And today, well, we're embarking on a pretty crucial deep dive, I think. We're looking into mental health and wellness. Specifically, we're digging into an Ava Mind blog post. It's titled, Self-Esteem's Deep Impact on Mental Well-Being.
Yeah, and that title really nails it. This isn't just, a light chat about feeling confident. This blog actually challenges some common ideas about self-esteem. It pushes past that surface level, nice to have kind of thinking.
Right. It's not just about positive thinking posters.
Yes, it really unpacks how profound and honestly often underestimated its influence is on our emotional resilience and well, our overall mental health. It's like this foundational piece,
Yeah.
a part of our psychological puzzle that a lot of people just overlook, and that can have real consequences.
I completely agree. So our mission here really is to unpack what self-esteem truly is, how it shapes our lives, often in ways we don't even see. And maybe the most interesting part, uncovering those hidden factors, the subtle things that can quietly chip away at our sense of worth, even when, everything on the surface seems totally fine, stable even. I think you might have some real aha moments as we get into these less obvious parts.
And that's why this matters so much to you listening right now. Whether you feel like you're constantly struggling with confidence, or maybe you're fighting that relentless inner critic,
That little voice, yeah.
that little voice, or maybe you just feel kind of off. You can't quite put your finger on why. Well, this deep dive could offer a shortcut maybe to understanding something really crucial about your well-being.
Yeah, cutting through the noise to get to the core. Stuff that feels abstract, maybe, or just hard to grasp day to day.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's build that foundation first. The blog makes it super clear right away. Self-esteem isn't just a motivational buzzword
Definitely not.
or some fluffy self-help concept. No, it positions it as a fundamental pillar of mental health, like essential, deeply rooted.
It underpins our psychological stability, our capacity for well-being. It's way more integral than we usually give it credit for. And the blog's definition, it really gets to the heart of it. It's the way you intrinsically see yourself, how you assign value.
Like an internal compass.
Yeah, exactly like an internal compass. It shapes how much you genuinely believe you matter, how capable you feel when things get tough,
Yeah.
and maybe most importantly, how worthy you believe you are. Worthy of love, success, happiness, all of it.
That worthiness piece feels key.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And what's critical here, the blog really spells this out, is that this is not about arrogance. It's not thinking you're better than others.
It's not ego.
No, it's about fostering this stable internal belief that fundamentally you are enough as you are. It's like a quiet, solid certainty in your own value, regardless of what's happening outside.
Yeah.
External validation, temporary setbacks, doesn't matter to that core belief.
I like that analogy you used, the internal anchor. The blog really emphasizes that resilience aspect, doesn't it?
It does, beautifully.
High self-esteem doesn't mean you never wobble or doubt yourself or mess up. I mean, that's just being human, right?
Exactly. Part of the deal.
But what it does give you is that firm anchor. So when life throws those inevitable mistakes or criticisms your way,
Which it will.
which it absolutely will, that strong internal belief lets you bounce back more easily. You might feel the sting, sure, disappointment, maybe rejection, but that core sense of worth stops you from completely crumbling inside. You don't see temporary failure as like a permanent reflection of who you are.
And that distinction is crucial. The difference between a stumble and a total collapse of self. That's where its protective power really lies. And the practical implications, they're huge, really widespread, as the blog details. When your self-esteem is solid, you're just better equipped for life's challenges. You handle setbacks differently.
As obstacles, not indictments.
Precisely. You build healthier relationships because you know your worth, you know your boundaries. You pursue goals more confidently, believing you can achieve them.
Even when it's hard.
Even when it's hard. But conversely, and the blog doesn't shy away from this, when self-esteem is low, even basic things can feel like an uphill battle.
Yeah, like everyday interactions or even self-care.
It becomes exhausting.
Yeah.
Like there's this invisible psychological tax draining your energy, turning simple things into these massive efforts. You just feel depleted.
Okay, so if self-esteem is this fundamental anchor, what happens when it's weak or, really compromised? The blog gets into this and it's pretty sobering.
It is. It states, quite unequivocally, that low self-esteem is way more than just a confidence
Yeah,
issue.
not just feeling shy sometimes.
Not at all. It's explicitly called a serious mental health risk factor, a significant one. It creates this vulnerability in our psychological architecture. Think of it like having a weakened immune system for your mind.
Okay, interesting analogy.
It makes you more susceptible to things like anxiety, depression.
Right.
Because you don't have those robust internal defenses, it diminishes your resilience.
You might not immediately draw a line between feeling bad about yourself and, say, clinical anxiety, but the blog lays out some really strong links.
Oh, absolutely.
It directly connects chronic low self-esteem to anxiety, to depression, these huge issues affecting so many people, but also things like increased stress, just feeling constantly on edge, and heightened emotional reactivity.
Yes, that's a big one, where small frustrations suddenly feel like massive disasters.
Right, like you can't regulate your feelings, everything feels overwhelming.
Exactly. It leads to these emotional swings that are just draining. Internally and often challenging for people around you, too. It's this huge, often invisible burden.
Hmm.
And the ripple effect, it goes even deeper into our behaviors, how we act day to day. The blog links low self-esteem to things like social withdrawal, pulling away from people, which then leads to loneliness,
A
isolation.
vicious cycle.
Totally. And it also correlates strongly with negative coping mechanisms, ways we try to deal with feeling inadequate.
Like what specifically?
Well, it could be substance use,
Yeah.
trying to numb those feelings. Or paradoxically, it might look like perfectionism.
Perfectionism, that seems counterintuitive almost, like you're trying harder.
Right. It looks productive on the surface,
Yeah.
striving for excellence. But often, it's driven by this relentless, deep-seated fear of not being good enough. It becomes self-punishing.
Wow.
And it's so important the blog emphasizes this. This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about understanding the intricate connections, this hidden web inside us.
In relationships too, right? The blog mentions that specifically.
Oh, hugely. It highlights how low self-esteem can fuel really problematic dynamics.
Like people pleasing, always putting others first.
Exactly. Constantly seeking that external validation because your own internal well feels dry, desperately needing approval.
Or worse, getting stuck in toxic situations.
Yes. Finding yourself repeatedly in relationships, friendships, even jobs where you're treated badly. Because deep down, there's this belief that you don't deserve better.
Or that you can't find anything healthier.
Precisely. It's this self-reinforcing trap that's so hard to see when you're in it, let alone break free from.
Yeah.
You need that stronger sense of self-worth to even start. But flipping the script. And this is where the blog offers real hope.
The positive side.
Yes. Higher, healthier self-esteem. It's linked to so many good things. Better mood overall, better emotional regulation, greater resilience, that ability to bounce back we talked about, facing adversity more effectively.
That makes sense.
And it empowers you to set healthier boundaries,
Yeah.
which is absolutely vital for self-preservation, respect, real connection.
Boundaries are so important and often so hard.
They are. And maybe most significantly, healthy self-esteem cultivates a stronger sense of agency, feeling like you're in the driver's seat of your own life.
Not just a passenger.
Exactly. Making choices, setting direction, not feeling like life is just happening to you.
Okay, so boiling this all down, what's the key takeaway for someone listening?
I think it means understanding self-esteem isn't just about feeling good temporarily. It's not superficial.
Right.
As the blog makes crystal clear, it's about equipping yourself with fundamental tools, essential mental, emotional resources.
Tools for life, basically.
Tools for a healthier, more fulfilling, more authentic life. It's not just an accessory. It's foundational.
Yeah.
A core investment in your psychological well-being.
Okay, so we know what it is, why it matters. Now, how does it get compromised? The blog starts at the causes that are, well, maybe more obvious, the ones we often think of first.
Yeah, the recognizable roots.
Mm.
The things that are often more overt, maybe more dramatic, that can really wear down our sense of self. The blog details several common ones. First up, it's a big one, childhood experiences.
Always comes back to childhood, doesn't it?
Often does, yeah. We're talking really impactful stuff like excessive criticism from parents or teachers during those formative years.
Constant negativity.
Or neglect, emotional or physical needs not being met. Or persistent bullying. That can leave deep wounds.
Oh, definitely.
Or even just a lack of genuine affection. Unconditional positive regard. Any of that can embed this sense of unworthiness early on. Creates a fragile foundation. Then there's trauma. Emotional, physical, psychological. Any significant trauma can leave lasting scars on how we see ourselves. our safety, our worth.
It changes your whole worldview sometimes.
Absolutely. And toxic relationships, another clear one. Being constantly belittled, invalidated, undermined.
In families, partnerships, work.
Anywhere, really, it's like this slow, insidious erosion. Your sense of self is just constantly under attack.
And what about things like social media? The blog mentions that too, right? Social comparison.
Oh, yes. In our world today, it's massive, often subconscious. We're constantly measuring ourselves against these curated, filtered, often totally unrealistic versions of other people.
They're highlight reels.
Exactly. They're perfect vacations, effortless success, flawless looks.
Mm.
And you look at your own messy, real life and think,
I'm falling short.
constantly, falling short of some impossible ideal. It's brutal. And we also have to acknowledge mental health conditions themselves, like depression, anxiety. They inherently distort self-perception.
So it's chicken and egg almost.
It can be very cyclical, yes. The condition fuels the low self-esteem, which makes the condition worse. It's a tough loop. And finally, the blog points to unrealistic societal standards. Those unspoken ideals about beauty, success, wealth, behavior.
It shoulds.
All the shoulds.
Yeah.
They're often unattainable, or just not you. Trying to conform is a setup for failure. It reinforces that feeling of not good enough.
Okay, so those are the more recognizable ones. But
Yeah.
the blog then asks this really interesting question. What if none of those really fit? What if your life looks good on paper? Supportive family, good relationships, no major trauma. But you still feel fragile inside. Your self-worth feels shaky.
Right. And that's where it gets really insightful. This is where the blog takes us into the hidden causes, the subtle stuff, looking beneath the surface. Yeah, this part of the blog is, I think, particularly powerful because it shows how self-esteem can quietly unravel, insidiously, even without obvious trauma or harsh criticism.
Like hidden currents pulling you down?
Exactly. It's the subtle ways our worth gets undermined, often without us even knowing why we feel off or not enough.
Okay, I'm ready for some potential aha moments here. Because these are the things we miss, right? The quiet threads that weave into self-doubt.
Precisely. They're not the dramatic headlines, they're the whispers. Let's dive into these 8 hidden contributors the blog identifies. Okay, number 1, inherent personality traits and temperament.
So like how you're naturally wired.
Exactly. The blog suggests some people are just predisposed to self-doubt, not as a flaw, but as part of their makeup.
Yeah.
Think about traits like perfectionism.
We mentioned that earlier as a coping mechanism.
Right, but it can also be more fundamental. For a true perfectionist, that inner critic is relentless, constantly finding fault, fearing imperfection. It whispers, not good enough no matter what.
Even if you succeed.
Even if you objectively succeed. Or high sensitivity being more easily affected by subtle negative cues, real or imagined. Or just a natural tendency towards negative self-talk. Your default internal monologue is critical.
So if your inner voice is always saying, I'm not doing enough or should have done better.
Then even minor stumbles feel huge, like personal failures. The blog suggests this internal lens makes you your own harshest critic, regardless of external reality. It's this constant, invisible internal battle.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. Okay, number 2, a lack of mastery experiences.
Mastery experiences, what does that mean exactly?
Confidence often comes from evidence. Seeing yourself succeed,
Yeah.
achieve something, overcome a challenge, that feeling of, I did that, I am capable.
Okay, got it.
But here's the subtlety the blog points out.
Yeah.
What if you haven't really had the chance to achieve, to lead, to really test yourself?
So not because you failed, but because the opportunity just wasn't there.
Exactly. Maybe you were always in supportive roles, never pushed, never found your arena. This quiet absence of mastery, of proving yourself to yourself. It slowly drains self-belief.
You end up feeling unsure, inadequate.
Chronically unsure. Because you lack that internal proof. You just assume you're not capable.
Wow. Okay, what's next?
Number 3 refers to unmet core psychological needs, drawing from self-determination theory.
Self-determination theory sounds important.
It is. It suggests 3 fundamental needs for well-being. Autonomy, feeling in control of your life and choices. Competence, feeling effective and capable. And relatedness, feeling connected and valued by others.
Autonomy, competence, relatedness.
Okay? Now, the blog explains, if these needs aren't consistently met like psychological nutrients, you can feel fundamentally off, unworthy, even if everything looks fine externally.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine feeling disconnected in a group of friends. No one's being mean, but you don't feel truly seen or heard or valued. Your input isn't really engaged with. Okay. That unmet need for relatedness can still make you feel unlovable, like you don't belong, even in a seemingly good situation. It's that quiet ache, chipping away your worth.
It makes a lot of sense. The subtle feeling of not quite fitting in.
Precisely. Number 4, subtle undermining social dynamics. This one is really insidious
How so?
because it's often not about overt criticism. It's about what's not acknowledged, the unspoken undercurrents, hidden patterns.
Like atmospheric pressure.
Good way to put it.
Yeah.
Slowly compressing your spirit. The blog gives great examples,
Yeah.
like passive-aggressive behavior.
Ugh, that's the worst. Leaves you questioning yourself.
Exactly, constantly feeling off-kilter. Or a persistent lack of praise or recognition. Especially in high-achieving environments, your contributions are overlooked, taken for granted.
You internalize that maybe you're just not good enough.
Or invisible expectations. These unstated standards you feel you're always failing to meet, even though no one spelled them out.
You're measuring yourself against a ghost.
Totally. And of course, that subtle comparison to ideal peers who seem effortlessly happy and successful. You internalize this gnawing sense of not enoughness without knowing why.
It's the silent agreement that everyone else has it figured out except you.
You got it. Okay, number 5, cognitive distortions without a diagnosis.
Meaning you don't need to have depression or anxiety to have distorted thinking.
Absolutely. The blog stresses this. These are common mental traps, like catastrophizing, always assuming the worst.
This typo means I'll get fired.
Exactly. Or mind reading, assuming you know others are thinking negative things about you with zero evidence.
Uh-huh.
Or all or nothing thinking, seeing things in rigid black and white.
No gray areas.
None. These patterns quietly but powerfully affect how you interpret everything, especially your own actions and worth. They create this biased, self-defeating filter.
Like wearing distorted glasses.
Perfect analogy. Number 6 is a lack of self-knowledge and purpose.
So not knowing who you are deep down.
Yeah. Or, more subtly, just feeling disconnected from your inner compass. The blog says if you haven't really explored your core values, your strengths, your priorities, you can feel adrift.
Even if your life seems okay on the outside.
Even then, this lack of an internal framework leaves you without an anchor for your identity. You feel like you don't quite know who you are, what you stand for.
And that leads to low self-esteem. How?
Because without that clear sense of self, it's easy to doubt your worth.
Yeah.
You lack an internal metric. So external things or just vague feelings of inadequacy fill the void. You feel like you're just reacting, not acting from conviction.
That lack of agency again.
Number 7 delves into subtle early childhood influences. We talked about the obvious stuff, but this is different.
More nuanced.
Yes, not loud trauma, but quiet patterns. The blog gives examples like overprotective parenting.
How does that hurt self-esteem? Seems like love.
It often is.
Yeah.
But it can inadvertently teach you to doubt your own ability to handle things, to make decisions, leading to feelings of helplessness later.
Okay, I see.
Or conditional love, where you subtly learned your worth, depends on performance, on pleasing others, instills a belief you're only valuable when you achieve.
Wow, that's deep.
Or even just absorbing parental anxiety or low self-worth. It can be passed down unconsciously, like an emotional blueprint, shaping your self-perception for years.
These quiet patterns living inside you.
Exactly. And finally, number 8, biological or neurological factors.
So, our actual brains.
Yeah. The blog offers this broader perspective. Genetics, temperament, your innate personality style, even subtle neurochemical imbalances. They can all affect your emotional tone and self-perception.
So, it's not always about what happened to you.
Not solely, no. The implication is profound. You might struggle with self-worth partly because of how your unique brain interprets things, how it's wired.
That could be validating for people who can't pinpoint an external cause.
Incredibly validating. It shifts the narrative from self-blame towards compassionate understanding, maybe seeking different kinds of support.
Okay, wow. That's a lot to take in, those hidden causes. They really shine a light on things. But after all that, the blog has a really empowering message, doesn't it?
Absolutely. A really hopeful one. Low self-esteem is not a life sentence. It doesn't define you.
It can be changed, strengthened.
Definitely. It's a journey of active rebuilding, and the blog offers practical, actionable steps. A roadmap, really.
So where do you start?
First step, foundational. Practice self-awareness. Become a curious observer of your own mind.
Notice that inner critic.
Yes. Identify that voice. Notice the thought patterns that keep you small, that hold you back. Without judgment, just notice. Then, once you're aware, you can challenge distorted beliefs. Actively question those harsh thoughts.
Like asking, is this helpful? Is it true? Is it kind?
Exactly. That trio is powerful. Often the inner critic fails on all 3. Recognizing that disarms it. The blog also says, focus on your strengths deliberately. Reflect on your skills, values, past successes. Build an evidence file of your positive attributes.
Not boasting, but counteracting the negative.
Precisely. And then building on that, build small wins. This is huge.
Micro goals. Tiny achievable things.
Yes. Making the bed, answering that email, a short walk, whatever feels manageable. Each tiny success registers in your brain. I am capable.
Like building blocks for confidence.
Exactly. Quietly, powerfully reinforcing self-efficacy. Showing yourself through action that you can do things. Also crucial. Consciously create supportive environments. Seek out people and places where you feel seen, safe, celebrated.
And maybe set boundaries with less supportive people.
Definitely. Or find new communities. And finally, a really important one, try self-compassion.
Treating yourself like a friend.
Yes. With the same warmth, understanding, kindness you'd offer someone you care about. Embracing imperfections, not seeing yourself as a problem to be fixed.
That feels like a radical shift for many people.
It really is.
And if you're feeling stuck with all this, or just overwhelmed about where to start, the blog has a specific suggestion involving AvaMind, right?
It does. It suggests initiating a conversation with Ava right inside the AvaMind app.
As a safe space.
And a safe, private, non-judgmental space to maybe explore your values, unpack those unhelpful beliefs, get personalized journaling prompts.
Like a guiding hand.
Exactly. Offering clarity, helping you take those first concrete steps towards feeling more like yourself again. #, concluding thoughts and further exploration. So as we wrap up, the blog circles back to this fundamental truth. Self-esteem isn't fixed. It's not static.
It evolves.
It evolves.
Yeah.
And it absolutely can be strengthened through conscious effort, action, self-compassion. That gives us real agency, doesn't it?
It really does. And for you listening, it's so important to hear. Your feelings are valid. Whether your struggles come from those obvious causes or these quiet, hidden forces we talked about, your experience is real. It deserves attention, compassion.
And here's maybe the most liberating message from the blog. You're already worthy, right now, inherently.
Even when you don't feel it, especially when you don't feel it.
Exactly. The work isn't about becoming someone else or earning worthiness. It's about reconnecting with the truth that's already inside you.
Clearing away the layers of doubt, the beliefs, the pressures.
Precisely. So you can rediscover and embrace the value you've always had.
And the blog suggests Ava can help with that journey, provide tools, guidance.
Yes, support you along the way. And importantly, this blog post, it's just the beginning of a whole series on self-esteem from AvaMind.
Oh, there's more.
Lots more. They'll dive deeper into practical strategies, like overcoming negative self-talk, real techniques to rewire that inner critic,
Useful.
and building confidence through small wins, a detailed guide to using micro goals to build capability, and embracing your strengths, shifting focus from flaws to celebrating your unique qualities.
Okay, so how can people access all this?
You can read the full blog post we discussed today and the whole series as it unfolds, right in the AvaMind app or on their website.
We'll put links in the description, of course.
Perfect. And if you prefer listening, like you are now, there's an exclusive audio version of the entire blog series only available in the AvaMind app too.
Good to know. Multiple ways to engage. So here's a final thought to leave you with. Given everything we've explored today, especially those subtle, hidden influences, how might recognizing these quiet forces change the way you interpret your own daily struggles? Or maybe even how you view your successes? Something to mull over.
Check out AvaMind's full blog for deeper insights.
Explore the AvaMind app for more moments of calm and reflection.
We'll be back with more thoughts soon.
Stay curious.